Listed on the agenda for tomorrow's meeting, the board will be considering hiring an attorney, hiring an outside investigator, and hiring an outside CPA accountant. They will also possibly clarify a vote on the district's facilities master plan. And there's another item on the agenda that is not easily seen that has some concern. All of this after there were 5 big surprise votes at the last board meeting. Now, at least one school board member is urging people to pay attention.
And I'm in one of the 2 at-large slots.
Meet Marcus Ellison.
And so having a strong public school system is very important to the community in which you live.
The lifelong South Bend resident is brand new to the board after winning his election in November.
I watched a lot of the meetings, become familiar with the things that seem to be going well, things that seem to be dead, and I thought that I could help, so that's why I decided to run.
Ellison's first board meeting was 2 weeks ago.
There's not a time limit on the rules.
The meeting was nearly 5 hours. 5 surprise agenda items were added unexpectedly and then voted on. There are concerns that the public at large had no notice, and there are still questions about the impact of the agenda items that passed.
That's not really our style, here in terms of governance, and that's not really the way it should be. And so then I think it makes people think, well, if it's that chaotic, if the meetings are looking like that, then what else must be going on? Everything must be like that, and that's not a great way to govern and run and to see things.
Of the surprise items that passed with a split vote, the board voted to hire a new law firm, freeze the facilities master plan, add cursive writing to the curriculum, and reinstate a former principal.
The process matters, and I think anyone can just look back and say this is just not an ideal process and not an ideal way to go about doing things.
Ellison says he is open to having big discussions and making changes, but he has concerns about this new board's practices.
They're not the doers. They are the governance part of it.
I spoke with Steve Horton from the Indiana School Boards Association. He couldn't talk about South Bend specifically, but we did talk about the responsibility of school boards and best practices.
They are the board of director for a very complex, multi-million-dollar organization. It really is a big responsibility.
Horton says there are 4 fundamental areas that boards control based on legislation and good board governance practices. The board hires, evaluates, and works with the superintendent. The board approves policy. The board approves the budget. And the board serves as a liaison for the community.
The most effective board work that can happen is when each board member understands fully that their role is to really be laser focused on student outcomes.
Horton also says that while school boards have oversight, they are not administration. There's a clear difference between the 2 roles.
There needs to be freedom for the people who are hired to do the job of doing the hiring and staffing and supervising to do their work. That's what they're trained to do.
But Ellison and at least one other current board member say that may not be happening in this case. In fact, on the agenda for tomorrow, hidden inside the personnel report, it appears the board will consider hiring a current South Bend Schools employee for a position that doesn't currently exist. While boards do approve personnel and new positions, this would be outside the normal procedure for a school board to take. In an email, Board Secretary Carlos Leyva said this position will fill a gap and that drastic circumstances require drastic measures.
If you haven't paid a lot of attention to the school board and things that have gone on, you probably need to start paying more attention. You probably need to start being more informed about what the board's going to do and not do and how the board's going to operate.
In an email to the full board and to me, Ellison says he's being told by another member of the board how to vote and not to ask any questions. The next board meeting is tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. at Adams High School. You can read more about what's expected at tomorrow's meeting and the board's response to my questions about the agenda on this story on our website. In the studio, Kristen Bean, WSBT 22 News.